Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we gotta talk about MultiVersus. MultiVersus was a platform fighter with all your favorite Warner Brothers IP, and honestly, it was a very great game when it was in the beta, but then when coming back out for full release, it dropped the ball really fucking hard. And to be honest, it really sucks for me to say these words. I really enjoyed MultiVersus. It was actually the thing that kind of caused me to come back to making content like a lot more frequently because I really enjoyed what MultiVersus was doing. I really enjoyed the community. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the customization options for characters. It felt like there was a lot of life in it. But then again, when it came back on release, it lost a lot of its flair, a lot of its charm, and even more importantly, it became just basically another generic platform fighter that was kind of destined to fail. And sadly, that time has came. Season 5 of MultiVersus has been announced to be the last season of it, and there's a lot of drama that goes with it. So buckle in as we take some time to look at #SaveMultiVersus and the Tony Huynh drama, with also me kind of putting in my input on why I personally believe MultiVersus failed, since again, I was someone that played a lot back in the day. And that's what we're going to talk about first. Why did MultiVersus fail for me as someone that played in the beta? Well, there's a lot to go over, and the first thing I want to go over is overall gameplay. Personally, I really liked how the beta played. I like its fast-paced nature. I liked it without running attacks and shields. I really just enjoyed how built every single character was to kind of be the same in the movement department. Like, Iron Giant and Gizmo obviously are lighter and faster, but at the same time, they still move the same to the point where I could pick up either or, and even if I don't know their moves, I can still move the same. And that made for a very fun, appealing gameplay where I could just switch between characters at any time. And that's another thing too. I could switch characters in the middle of a match, and that is something that I really enjoyed because there are certain matchups that are just not well with your character. And I felt like that, hey, if you can switch to somebody else that you might know that leads you to a win, I feel like that's fair game. But back on release, they slowed the game so much, and personally, I really didn't enjoy that. And then they also made the characters feel a lot more unique, but then again, I really thought that was to his detriment. Someone like Bugs Bunny felt a lot more slippery than before, and overall, I just couldn't do the same things that I could back in the beta, which made me not want to play Bugs Bunny. It overall kind of made me kind of want to only play one character, and that's not something that the old MultiVersus used to do, in my eyes. Another thing that I've noticed too when the game re-released, it was so ones-oriented. The twos for MultiVersus was something that I personally loved so much. Being able to play with a different friend or somebody else entirely, combining movesets and overall passive abilities to make a very explosive, experimental type gameplay was so fucking fun. It was so cool to partner up with some random ass character or do a team up where they're from the same universe and absolutely smoke the enemy team. But then when it came on release, Duos wasn't even a viable game to play because it was so goddamn laggy. And I think that was really a part of it. MultiVersus lost its personality. It became a lot more like Smash Bros, a lot more like any other platform fighter out there, which is bad. This is a market that you need to be unique, and that was unique. A two-centric game, fast-paced fighting, where shields and grabs and, you know, a lot of other things just weren't in it. It made for a very unique type of playing, where, you know, there are people out there, casuals, they're like, it's just too hard to learn and stuff like that. But you build yourself a niche audience where this is literally the only game that acts this type of way. So they kind of have to come to you to play a type of style of game. And that would have worked. But now since it's so closely tied to everything else, what is there really unique to say about it? That's where you would reply, the characters! The characters is what's unique about it. Well, they didn't really do too well with those either. Listen, I understand like Banana Guard being somewhat of a troll pick to have for the beginning of the game, but to me, it was like, okay, it's just showing that they are willing to pick really out there characters and try to build something off of them. Alright, I was fine with him. Then, you know, seasons kept rolling through. Why do we have Lola Bunny, right? This is for Season 5. There is a lot of Looney Tunes characters that people want, like Coyote, maybe Roadrunner, something a little bit more unique in that sense. There's a lot of untapped market with IPs, and I understand that getting IPs probably isn't the easiest thing to do, but they had a year. They had a year to try to get a lot of these things done, filed, and ready for when the game re-released, and it really just didn't feel like they did. Because tell me why, other than Season 2 of MultiVersus, was there a DC rep for every single one of them? Yes, DC has the most characters in it, so they can pull from a lot of them, and I'm guessing they have really easy clearance for IP, but That's not what people want to see. People really don't want to see Nebula, which I don't even know as a character. Obviously, a lot of people are happy that she was in there just for representation, but that's not what's bringing most of the people to come back to your game. When I saw her, I literally didn't give a fuck. I saw Powerpuff Girls too. I didn't care either because they were just a little too late. Why have a Powerpuff stage in the beginning when they didn't even come in until Season 3? Another change that I didn't like was towards perks. Yes, with how many perks they had from the beta, there was probably some that weren't getting used at all. But at the same time, getting rid of really popular ones and also changing how some worked and shortening the pool to like nothing just made me use the same one still. It didn't fix the problem, it just made me feel more repetitive in the sense that anytime I would get a perk slot, I would just be like, okay, put on this one, and then go on. Like, I would never experiment. I think they should have just made characters that would benefit from those perks, like, a lot more than the others, which would make them more used, you know what I mean? Or maybe just fiddle around with them. I think just literally shortening the pool did not help at all. Now, there's one more thing that I mainly want to touch upon when it becomes why I think MultiVersus failed for me, and that is going to be its monetization and customization for characters. Obviously, since MultiVersus is a free-to-play game, there's going to be some monetization that comes with it, and honestly, I personally believe MultiVersus back in the beta had some of the best ones. When it came to characters, you had three options. You could use coins that you got free, you could use gems that you paid for, or if you got the Founders Pack, you get tickets to unlock all the characters and have some left over, so it's kind of like more of an investment. Okay, that was pretty cool. I even bought the Founders, I enjoyed it. When it came to skins, what was there not to like about their skins? There wasn't any recolors, but everything felt unique. There were skins with different dialogue, skins with different voice boxes, there were skins that had different wins, loses, and just a lot of customization with it that really made the price feel worth it. But then when the game released, again, it really just went down the shitter when it came to cosmetics. It really seemed like they were trying to fork over any type of money from any player. Why are we getting shark hats only? Like, that's the only change. Why are we getting only glasses? Why are we getting fucking graphic tees with the Joker logo on it? Like, these are things that cost real money that are super ass. They're just not cool enough to want to buy them. And that's not good. Why the fuck are we getting like this suboptimal shit? Then also, when it comes to characters, those are priced. Everything is just super duper hard to get comparatively to when it was in the beta, and it just wasn't fun. I can't really speak about the character ones too much just because I was, again, someone that bought the Founders Pack, so I had all the characters, I had tickets still. I didn't have to like fork over any coins or gems like those, but I know from people that have played and didn't spend any money, it was a big turnoff, and I can understand why. Overall, I feel like that MultiVersus on release was a completely different game. Beta was so twos oriented, very much player first, and was just a overall very fun game. But then when it came to the release, it was super ones oriented, super safe with casuals, something that was just trying to placate and get into people's wallets over their hearts. But with all of this kind of leads us to now with MultiVersus. You know, player base being the lowest that it's ever been, the game stating it's going to be shutting down after Season 5, and leaving the player base in a really weird spot of love, trying to save it, but also a lot of hate. And this is going to be where I bring up the Tony Huynh drama. Tony Huynh is the co-founder of PFG and someone that a lot of people that came from the MultiVersus community really respected. He was out there, he was spoken, he talked about developing characters and how it was, and overall was the most vocal of people. But things have started to leak from the inside that kind of shows that Tony might not be that nice of a guy. Here is a collage of photos from @thatduffyofduck on Twitter, and it shows a lot of the Tony screenshots that I'm going to be mentioning here. One being from Papa Gino's, an inside leaker that I think a lot of people know that, you know, is pretty credible, where he states that everything I heard about behind the scenes was that Tony was awful to work for and mismanaged the hell out of the game. I don't know the guy, I didn't work for the game, but yes, I've been hearing stuff like that from the beta, so it's not surprising that the floodgate is starting to break now. Then we can also see an Instagram post where we have a young Cybot, the son, I believe, of John Tobias, which is the co-founder of Mortal Kombat, someone that you would be speaking to if you want to get someone like Sub-Zero, Scorpion into the game. And it says, unfortunately, Tony doesn't take any advice/ideas and is a direct result of the game's failure, only cares about being famous. At the end of the day, though, these are just words. There's no evidence behind this, there's no video capture of him being rude or being disorganized, but these are some things that are being said, and obviously with people tend to believe it. So there's been a little bit of an outcry towards Tony. And with that, he came out with a tweet. Now, this tweet is very long, and I very much implore you to just pause the video and read it yourself. I think that would do you the best, just to see where he's coming from. But if you don't want to, I'll try to summarize it to the best that I can. Tony's very reflective in this tweet, talking about, loving that he was able to do this. Talks about loving to be able to work with Warner Brothers, his team, loves the people who are able to support and help and just, make the game what it is. He's very sad that it has to go, obviously. And, talks about Season 5 and the characters in there. Talks about how characters were made, why Banana Guard was made, which is kind of funny because it seems like people are still mad over it. And overall, a very inflective tweet that, again, I suggest you to read. And you can believe him. You don't have to believe him. I'm not here to judge that. But it does seem like, he does care that his team, his game, is just going to have to go down. And he doesn't know what's truly there for the future of them. But hopefully it's a good one, not a bad one. Now, there was someone that did come to the defense of Tony, and that being Ajax. I believe he's one of the developers for the games, and he stated that he was losing sleep over the past days, seeing all these things happen to Tony. The man that would stay up past midnight to stay with us watching streams, listen for fun ideas from the player. The man that took some time to read and respond to messages when he didn't have to. The man who spent countless hours in every department to try to improve things. The man who went out of his way to hire so many of us from the community and give us a shot to be involved with something special. Tony is not who he's painted to be. I know all these things don't look the best right now. Everybody's looking for answers, but receiving threats of physical harm against him will not be the way. And I agree. Do not send hate to Tony. Do not send hate to the PFG team. Do not send hate to anybody, because we truly don't know what's happening. We don't know who, what, who's shutting it down, who is the reason for it. Everybody wants answers why, but we truly don't know. So you can take these tweets with a grain of salt. You can believe them, you can not believe them. I physically don't care. I'm just here to give it to you. Now, if you had to ask me where I sit on all this, I personally believe it's a little bit of everything. I don't think Tony Huynh is the big, bad, evil wolf that fucking shut down the game, but I do believe probably, PFG, their first game, being something like this that's a live service game, probably wasn't the best. They are not super experienced in the genre, in the games, and even though they have probably a good heart and they do want this game to succeed, they just weren't the people able to do it. That's why the beta shut down. That's why this game is going to get shut down now for maybe good. But I believe it's a little bit everybody, and Warner Brothers themselves have been losing money. So since this game is not making the premium amount that they could, just like Suicide Squad, it's going downhill. But to now look on the positive side, there is a new hashtag going around called Save MultiVersus. This is a new Twitter hashtag that's going around where you get to show your favorite moments, your favorite highlights, the things you love about MultiVersus, and overall, just a kind of rally of the community to try to put together people and show that MultiVersus is still wanted. It is honestly kind of nice to see because it just kind of shows what community MultiVersus was able to make. They're able to make one that really stands by the game and how it plays, and wanting to see still stand strong. Sadly, I don't think this is really going to do too much, just for the basis of, I'm guessing that this was already confirmed for them like a long time ago, and they're ready to pull the plug. There's not really like a, oh yeah, we'll just let it keep going on type deal. But if they do, that would be kind of cool. Do I personally believe that this could overall bring back MultiVersus from the deep pits that it's in? Probably not. But I do think there's a slim chance. Reason being is that Season 5 actually reworked a lot of the characters in speed and overall gameplay, and a lot of people have been enjoying it, even some pros that left, like Lord Bugs. And with it, there is a slim chance that they see all this and see maybe some people coming through back into the game, saying they love it and seeing them play again, and maybe just let it last a little bit longer. I truly don't know. I personally just believe that, this is going to be a thing that they already kind of talked about last season, and now just kind of finalize it while the season was going up. So we'll have to see. Thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. Let me know what you think about MultiVersus in the comments. Do you want to see it stay? Do you want to see it go? Let me know. Subscribing and liking would be nice if you enjoyed this video. Maybe checking out my other stuff too. And with that, that's all I have to say. So, just like the wise word of that one pig, that's all, folks.